My husband can't be in the same room as our children. I'm allergic to them, he says, his eyes watering. It's not my fault. For 3 years, I've been a single parent while married. He wears a mask around our kids, sleeps in a separate room, won't hold them, won't play with them. The doctor says it's real, he tells everyone, a rare condition. Last month, I took him to a specialist, a real specialist, not the doctor he'd been seeing. The allergist ran tests, took samples, checked everything. Yesterday, he called me into his office, alone. Mrs. Patterson, your husband isn't allergic to your children, but I found something in his blood work that's causing his symptoms, and I need to report this to Child Protective Services. What he found would end my marriage, destroy the lie my husband had been living, and explain why, for 3 years, my children had grown up thinking their father couldn't love them because of their biology. Because my husband wasn't allergic to our kids. He was making himself sick, on purpose, to avoid being a father. Before we continue, if you've ever felt like you were parenting alone while married, hit that subscribe button right now. Your support means everything to me. And comment below, have you ever caught someone faking an illness to avoid responsibility? Let's talk about it. Now, back to my story. My name is Rachel Patterson. I'm 34 years old. I live in Austin, Texas, and I'm a nurse at Dell Children's Hospital. I met my husband Kevin 8 years ago. He was a software engineer. Smart, funny, said he wanted kids someday. We got married after 2 years of dating. Got pregnant 6 months later. I'll never forget the day I told him about the pregnancy. Kevin, I'm pregnant. He smiled, hugged me. That's amazing. But I saw something in his eyes, just for a second, something that looked like fear. Are you okay? I asked. Yeah, just surprised. This is great, really great. Our daughter, Emma, was born 9 months later. She was perfect. Tiny fingers, big eyes, the love of my life. Kevin seemed happy at first. He held her in the hospital, took pictures, did all the things new fathers do. But when we got home, things changed. He started sneezing around her. His eyes would water, his skin would get red and blotchy. I think I'm having an allergic reaction, he said on day 3. To what? I don't know. Maybe the baby lotion or the detergent? I switched products, used hypoallergenic everything, fragrance-free, dye-free. The symptoms continued. By week 2, Kevin was wearing a mask around Emma, said the symptoms were getting worse. I need to see a doctor, he said. He went to an allergist. Dr. Richard Morrison. A doctor he'd apparently researched and specifically chosen. He came back with a diagnosis that would change our lives. Dr. Morrison says I have a rare condition. I'm allergic to infant proteins, specifically proteins in baby saliva, skin cells, and dander. I stared at him. That's not a real thing. It is. He showed me medical journals. It's rare, but it happens. Some people develop severe allergic reactions to infants. So what does that mean? It means I need to limit my contact with Emma, keep my distance, take antihistamines, wear protective equipment when I'm near her. You're saying you can't hold our baby? Not without severe reactions. Rachel, I'm not choosing this. My body is reacting to her. I can't control it. I felt like my world was collapsing. How could a father be allergic to his own child? But Kevin had a doctor's note, medical documentation, an official diagnosis. So I adjusted. I became the primary caregiver. I did all the feeding, changing, playing, comforting. Kevin would interact with Emma from a distance, talk to her from across the room, wave at her, blow kisses. But he never held her, never gave her a bath, never rocked her to sleep. When Emma was 2, I got pregnant again. A boy this time. We named him Lucas. Maybe you won't be allergic to him, I hoped. Different gender, different proteins. But the symptoms started immediately. The sneezing, the watery eyes, the rashes. It's both of them, Kevin said. Dr. Morrison says it might be something in my immune system, an overreaction to any child-related proteins. So now I had 2 children, and a husband who couldn't be near either of them. We moved to a bigger house. Kevin had his own bedroom, his own bathroom, a safe zone where no child-related allergens could reach him. He'd come home from work and go straight to his room. I'd bring him dinner on a tray. He'd eat alone while I fed Emma and Lucas in the kitchen. On weekends, he'd sometimes sit in the backyard while the kids played inside, watch them through the window. "Daddy can't play with you," I'd explain to Emma when she asked. "He's sick. His body doesn't work right around kids." "Why?" she'd ask, her little face confused. "I don't know, sweetheart. Sometimes bodies are just different." My friends started noticing. "Rachel, this doesn't seem right," my best friend Sarah said. "How can someone be allergic to their own children?" "It's a real condition. Kevin has medical documentation." "Have you gotten a second opinion?" "From who? His doctor is a specialist. What am I supposed to do, call him a liar?" But deep down, I was starting to wonder. Because Kevin's allergies had a pattern. They were always worse when the kids needed something. When Emma had a nightmare and wanted Daddy. When Lucas took his first steps and I called Kevin to come see. Suddenly, the sneezing would get worse. The rash would flare up. He'd have to retreat to his room. It was like his body knew exactly when to react. Last year, Emma turned 5. She started kindergarten. "Why doesn't Daddy come to school events?" she asked after the first parent day. "His allergies, baby. Remember?" "But Tyler's dad has allergies and he still came. He just took medicine." "Daddy's allergies are different." "Daddy's allergies are stupid," she said, tears in her eyes. "I think he just doesn't like us." That broke my heart, because part of me was starting to think the same thing. I confronted Kevin that night. "Emma thinks you don't love her. She's 5 years old and she thinks her father doesn't want to be around her." "That's not true. I love both of them. I just can't physically be near them." "For 3 years, Kevin. 3 years of you living like a stranger in your own house. Do you know what that's like for them? For me? Do you know what it's like for me? Having a condition I can't control? A body that rejects my own children? Then let's get another opinion. See a different doctor. Try new treatments." "I've tried everything Dr. Morrison suggested. Different antihistamines, immunotherapy. Nothing works." "Then we see someone else, a different specialist. Because this isn't sustainable. Our kids are growing up without a father." He finally agreed. I made an appointment with Dr. Sarah Lynn, an allergist at the hospital where I work. "Bring all his medical records," she said. "Everything from his previous doctor." The appointment was on a Tuesday. Kevin seemed nervous. "Why do I need to see a different doctor? Dr. Morrison knows my case." "Because I want a second opinion. For our family's sake." We went together. Dr. Lynn reviewed Kevin's file from Dr. Morrison, asked detailed questions. "Describe your symptoms when you're near your children." "Sneezing, watery eyes, skin reactions, throat tightness, sometimes nausea." "And these occur immediately?" "Within minutes." "Have you ever had reactions to other children? Nieces, nephews, friends' kids?" Kevin hesitated. "Not that I've noticed." "So it's specifically your own children?" "I guess so. Maybe there's something genetic, some protein marker they have that triggers my immune system." Dr. Lynn made notes. "I'd like to run comprehensive allergy testing, more extensive than what you've had before, including blood work to check immunoglobulin levels and other immune markers." "Is that necessary?" "Dr. Morrison already tested me." "I want to be thorough. If we can identify the specific trigger, we might be able to develop better treatment." Kevin agreed, though he looked uncomfortable. The tests were done that day. Blood drawn, skin prick tests, respiratory function tests. "Results will take about a week," Dr. Lynn said. We went home. I felt hopeful for the first time in years. Maybe there was a treatment. Maybe Kevin could finally be a real father. 5 days later, Dr. Lynn called. "Mrs. Patterson, can you come to my office? Today if possible, without your husband." My heart sank. "Is it bad news?" "I need to discuss the results with you first. Can you come at 3 o'clock? I got a babysitter, drove to her office. My hands were shaking as I walked in. Dr. Lynn closed the door. Her expression was serious. "Rachel, your husband doesn't have any allergies, not to children, not to infant proteins, not to anything related to your kids. But his symptoms are real. He is experiencing physical symptoms, but they're not from allergies." Then what's causing them? She pulled out a lab report. We found elevated levels of antihistamines in his blood. Extremely high levels, much higher than therapeutic doses. He takes antihistamines for his allergies. These levels suggest he's taking massive doses, enough to cause paradoxical reactions, symptoms that mimic allergic responses. I didn't understand. Why would he do that? There's more. We also found traces of ipecac syrup. It's a substance that causes nausea and vomiting, and pseudoephedrine in abnormal concentrations that causes watery eyes and nasal symptoms. The room started spinning. Are you saying Kevin is making himself sick? Yes, he's been taking medications that create the appearance of allergic reactions. The sneezing, watery eyes, nausea, all symptoms he's artificially creating. But why? Why would anyone do that? I can't speak to motivation. But Rachel, what he's doing is dangerous. Taking antihistamines at these levels can cause serious health problems. And using these substances to avoid parenting responsibilities, I'm legally required to report this. Report it to who? Child Protective Services. Your husband is engaging in medical deception that's affecting his ability to parent. That potentially puts your children at risk. At risk of what? He's not hurting them. He's not providing care for them. He's using fabricated medical conditions to avoid parental responsibilities. That's a form of neglect. And the substances he's taking, if your children ever access them accidentally, it could be dangerous. I felt sick. What happens now? CPS will investigate. They'll interview you, your husband, possibly your children. They'll want to see his medications, his medical records. Rachel, you need to prepare yourself. This is serious. I drove home in a daze. CPS would be involved. My husband had been faking his allergies. My children had grown up without a father because he was poisoning himself to avoid them. Why? Kevin was in his room when I got home. I knocked on the door. It's me. We need to talk. How did the appointment go? What did Dr. Lin say? I opened the door. He was sitting at his desk, computer open. She said you're not allergic to our kids. His face went pale. That's not possible. I have a diagnosis from Dr. Morrison. She found antihistamines in your blood, high doses, and ipecac, and pseudoephedrine. You've been taking drugs to make yourself look sick. Silence. Long, horrible silence. Kevin? Why? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. Not anymore. Dr. Lin is reporting this to CPS. The truth is going to come out. So just tell me. Why did you do this? His hands started shaking. I didn't mean for it to go this far. What does that mean? After Emma was born, I panicked. I looked at this tiny baby and I felt nothing. No connection. No love. Just terror. Lots of new parents feel overwhelmed. It wasn't overwhelm. It was complete emotional emptiness. Everyone kept saying I'd feel this instant bond, this overwhelming love, but I didn't feel anything. So instead of talking to someone, getting help, you decided to fake allergies? I didn't plan it. I took some antihistamines one day, too many by accident, and I felt sick. You were so sympathetic, so understanding, and I realized if I was sick, I had an excuse, a reason why I couldn't connect with her. So you kept doing it. You made yourself sick for 3 years. I thought it would get easier, that eventually I'd feel something. But with Lucas, it was the same, nothing. And by then, the allergy story was established. Everyone believed it. I couldn't suddenly be cured. Our children think you don't love them. I know. Emma asked me last week if you wish she was never born. His face crumpled. I never wanted to hurt them. But you did. You let them grow up thinking their father physically couldn't be near them. Do you know what that does to a child? To feel like your own parent's body rejects you? I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough. CPS is going to investigate. Dr. Lin had to report you. This is medical fraud, child neglect. What were you thinking? I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to survive each day without anyone knowing I'm a terrible father. You're not a terrible father because you didn't feel instant love. You're a terrible father because instead of getting help, you chose to abandon your kids and blame it on fake allergies. What do I do now? I don't know. But I can't do this anymore. I can't stay married to someone who's been lying for 3 years, who's let our children suffer because he was too much of a coward to admit he needed help. CPS showed up 2 days later, a woman named Jennifer Torres and her supervisor. Mrs. Patterson, we're here to investigate a report regarding your husband and your children. I let them in. Kevin was at work. The kids were at school. What did Dr. Lynn tell you? That your husband has been fabricating medical symptoms to avoid parenting responsibilities. Is that accurate? He admitted it to me. He's been taking medications to make himself appear allergic to our children. How long has this been going on? 3 years, since our daughter was born. Jennifer took notes. During this time, has your husband had any physical contact with the children? Very little. He wears a mask around them, stays in a separate room, won't hold them or play with them. And you believe this was due to legitimate allergies? Yes, he had a doctor's note, a diagnosis. I work in healthcare. I know better than to dismiss medical documentation. Have the children been harmed in any way? Not physically, but emotionally? Yes. They feel rejected by their father. Emma is 5 and she thinks Daddy doesn't love her. Lucas is 3 and he barely knows his father exists. We'll need to interview your husband, and we may need to speak with your children, with your permission. What happens if you determine this is neglect? That depends on several factors: whether he's willing to get psychological help, whether he can demonstrate commitment to changing, whether he poses any ongoing risk to the children. He's not dangerous. He's just absent. Emotional neglect is still neglect. Children need both parents to be present and engaged. They interviewed Kevin that evening. I wasn't allowed to be present, but afterward, Kevin told me what happened. They asked why I did it, what I was thinking, if I realized the impact on Emma and Lucas. What did you say? The truth, that I didn't feel connected to them, that I panicked and made a terrible decision, that I kept lying because I didn't know how to stop. Are you going to be charged with something? They're not sure yet. It depends on whether I get psychiatric help. They want me to see a therapist, someone who specializes in postpartum mental health issues in fathers. Postpartum? You're not the one who gave birth. Men can have postpartum depression too, difficulty bonding with newborns. Apparently it's not uncommon. I should have talked to someone 3 years ago instead of this. A week later, Jennifer called me. We've completed our initial investigation. We're recommending mandatory therapy for your husband and supervised visitation with the children until he can demonstrate appropriate parenting capability. Supervised by who? By you initially. We want him to start spending time with the kids, real time, no masks, no distance, with you present to ensure everyone's safety. What if he refuses? Then we move toward more serious interventions. But Mrs. Patterson, I should tell you, this case is unusual. Your husband isn't violent or abusive. He's experiencing what appears to be severe, untreated mental health issues. With proper treatment, he may be able to develop a relationship with your children. And if he can't? Then you'll need to make decisions about what's best for your family. Kevin started seeing Dr. Marcus Webb, a psychologist who specializes in paternal mental health. After the first session, Kevin came home looking drained. How did it go? I asked. Hard. Dr. Webb asked me to describe my feelings when Emma was born. I told him I felt nothing, numbness, like I was looking at a stranger's baby. Did he say what that means? He thinks I have attachment issues, possibly stemming from my own childhood. My father was distant, emotionally unavailable. I might have internalized that parenthood is supposed to feel disconnected. You never told me your father was like that. I didn't think it mattered. I thought I'd be different. But when Emma was born, and I didn't feel that instant love everyone talks about, I panicked, thought I was broken, a bad father. So instead of admitting that, you faked allergies. I know how insane it sounds. Dr. Webb says I created an external reason for something I was afraid to confront internally. Can he help you? He thinks so. But Rachel, it's going to take time. I can't just suddenly feel 3 years of missed bonding. I have to build a relationship with them from scratch. That weekend, we had our first supervised visit. CPS required Kevin to spend 4 hours with the kids, with me present. Kevin came into the living room. No mask, no distance. Emma looked at him suspiciously. "Why aren't you wearing your mask?" "Because I don't need it anymore, sweetheart. The doctor figured out I'm not really allergic." "You're not sick anymore?" "I was never sick. I was just confused and scared. And I made a very bad choice." "What choice?" I intervened. "Emma, Daddy needs to talk to you and Lucas about something important. Why don't we all sit down?" We sat on the couch. Kevin looked terrified, but he reached out and took Emma's hand. His first physical contact with her in months. "Emma, Lucas, I need to apologize to you. For 3 years I told everyone I was allergic to you, that I couldn't be near you. But that wasn't true." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "You lied?" "Yes, I lied. And I'm so sorry." "Why?" "Because I was scared. When you were born, I didn't know how to be a good daddy. And instead of asking for help, I hid. I pretended to be sick so I wouldn't have to try." "You didn't want to be our daddy?" "I did want to. I just didn't know how, and I made everything worse by lying about it." Lucas, who was 3 and didn't fully understand, climbed into Kevin's lap. Kevin froze, then slowly wrapped his arms around him. Tears streamed down his face. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Emma watched for a moment, then climbed up too. Kevin held both of them, sobbing. "I love you both. I know I haven't shown it. I know I hurt you, but I love you, and I'm going to do better. I promise." It was the first time in 3 years that Kevin had held his children. Over the next month, Kevin continued therapy, started spending more time with Emma and Lucas. Slowly, carefully, trying to build something that should have been there all along, but something inside me had broken. I watched him play with them in the backyard, watched him read them bedtime stories, watched him try to be the father he should have been from the beginning, and I felt nothing but anger. "You're doing great," Sarah said when she came over for coffee. "Kevin's really trying." "I know. So why do you look miserable?" "Because it's too late. I've spent 3 years as a single parent, 3 years watching my children feel rejected, 3 years believing my husband had a medical condition when he was just a coward. He's getting help now. He's changing. But I've changed too. I look at him and all I see is the lie. Every time Emma asks him to play, I remember all the times he said no. Every time Lucas climbs into his lap, I remember the years of Kevin refusing to hold him. Do you still love him?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know. Maybe I love who he used to be, or who I thought he was. But this person, the one who poisoned himself for 3 years to avoid parenting, I don't think I can forgive that. I talked to a divorce attorney the next week. "Based on what you're telling me, you have strong grounds for divorce: fraud, abandonment, emotional harm to children." "Will I get custody?" "Almost certainly. Given his documented neglect and CPS involvement, you'd likely get primary custody, with his visitation being conditional on continued therapy." He's not a bad person. He's sick. Mental illness isn't an excuse for neglect. The courts will consider his efforts to improve, but 3 years of deliberate deception, that weighs heavily. I went home. Kevin was in the kitchen making dinner, something he'd started doing recently, cooking for the family. "Can we talk?" I asked. "Sure. What's up?" "I want a divorce." He stopped stirring, turned around slowly. "What?" "I can't stay married to you, Kevin. I've tried. I've watched you try to make amends, but I can't get past what you did." "Rachel, I'm getting help. I'm being a father now. Doesn't that count for something?" "It counts for Emma and Lucas. They deserve to have a relationship with you, but I deserve to have a partner I can trust, and I can't trust you. I made one mistake that lasted 3 years. One mistake that damaged our children. Kevin, you let Emma think her father's body rejected her. Do you understand how much therapy she's going to need because of that? I know. I'm trying to fix it. You can't fix 3 years. You can only move forward, and I can't move forward with you. What about the kids? You'll still see them. We'll have shared custody. But I need you to understand, this isn't about punishing you. It's about protecting myself. I gave you 3 years of understanding and support for a condition you were faking. I have nothing left to give. That was 4 months ago. The divorce was finalized last month. Kevin has the kids every other weekend. He's still in therapy, still learning how to be a father. Emma's in therapy too, working through her feelings of rejection and confusion. She told me last week that she's glad Daddy isn't allergic anymore, but she's still mad at him for lying. That's okay, I told her. You're allowed to be mad. What Daddy did was wrong. But he said he's sorry. I know. And maybe someday you'll forgive him. But right now, you're allowed to feel however you feel. Lucas is too young to fully understand what happened. He just knows Daddy lives in a different house now, but visits on weekends. As for me, I'm learning to trust myself again, learning that it's okay to question things even when they come with medical documentation, learning that sometimes the people we love most are capable of incredible selfishness. Kevin called me last night. I know you won't believe this, but I really am getting better. Dr. Webb says I'm making progress. That's good, for the kids' sake. Is there any chance? No, Kevin, there's no chance. We're co-parents now. That's all we'll ever be. I understand. I just want you to know, I never meant to hurt you, or them. But you did, and intent doesn't erase damage. I'm Rachel Patterson. I'm 34 years old. My husband faked allergies to our children for 3 years to avoid being a father. He claimed he had a rare medical condition, had a doctor's note, let our children grow up thinking their father's immune system rejected them. But he wasn't allergic. He was just afraid. And instead of facing that fear, he poisoned himself, created symptoms, lived a lie. Our children are healing, building a new relationship with their father, one based on truth this time, not fabrication. And I'm healing too, learning that some betrayals can't be forgiven, that loving someone doesn't mean staying with them, that protecting yourself and your children isn't selfish, it's survival. If someone in your life uses medical conditions as excuses to avoid responsibility, question it. Get second opinions. Trust your instincts. Because sometimes the sickest person in the room is the one who's been faking their illness all along. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support truly means the world to me, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever dealt with someone who faked illness to avoid responsibility? Each comment helps me keep creating stories that matter. See you next time.